Hello everyone, I'm Brian. Today I'm reacting to Why Are We Here from Lakhani and Hindu Academy. I don't remember if I've ever seen Lakhani answer this question in the past. And I know I didn't react to this because it's about a month old. So anyways, why are we here? Um, from my understanding, we could be aliens from this on this planet. Now this is not the same thing as what is our purpose. It's just why are we here? I really don't know. I mean, why is anything? Anyways, let's go and get started. Mind you, I wonder if it is in fact of what is our purpose, as in why are we here. If it's of our purpose, then there's a couple of things. Scientifically speaking, we're here just to reproduce and continue on the species, which is very much. I mean, it's just that's the very basics. In terms of outside of that, it's whatever you want your purpose to be. You have full reign of your life. You have control over your life. So whatever purpose you want, you can achieve. You, you can attempt to achieve. It's not to say that you'll achieve everything, but if you have a realistic goal, you can achieve it. Um, and then I think in terms of Hinduism, I believe is to be liberated. Religion to go to God, I guess. And then in scientific term or science, I believe it's to reproduce. And then in terms of outside of science, just outside of the religion as well, is to whatever purpose you wish it to be, because it is your life. You have control over it.
The principle-oriented Hindus I'm presenting is not something I'm conjuring up just for the requirement of modern society so that it can relate to science and rationality. This is the most ancient way of the idea of spirit came into being. Do you know how it started? It started with this ancient, and I mention this name again because it thrills me, an ancient sage called Kapila. He was just saying that, look, before we make sense of the world, oh, what is all this about? Let me first sort myself out. Who am I? What is the validity of this subject? Who the heck am I? Now, this is a very interesting thing, because unless you check out your instruments, your capacity to make sense of the world, what is your capacity? What's your strength? Unless you do that, the way you relate to the world will be kind of half-hearted, because you're not taking into account your own limitations or your own stature. So this is what the ancient Greeks, we resonate with the ancient Greeks in many sense, whether we borrowed from them or they borrowed from this is by the way a question, but we resonate. The ancient Greeks is the same thing. Man, know thyself first. See, this is how it started. First sort yourself out. Who the heck are you? What is your capacity? Because if you are a dunce, then any dunce-like answers will satisfy you. Then it's hardly worth bothering, because you are a dunce. But suppose you are very sharp, and I'm sure all of you feel, especially the youth here, feel we are sharp, we are going to sort ourselves out. So once you begin to recognize your own validity, your own credential, then you can really ask challenging questions. So the journey went inward to say, who am I? What is my nature? And this is Kapil, ancient Kapil. The whole world should really pay tribute to this man. Through this introspection, he managed to find oh dear, I am much different from what I thought I am. Descartes said, I think, therefore I am. That means he's stuck with his mental mode. That's him, is what his mind tells him. Hindu said, no, we are neither the body nor the mind. We are different from the body and the mind. They are both linked up with each other, but they are both secondary. I am something that is occupying the body and mind, but I am different. And was this purely intellectual? He was drinking cups of coffee in his time. I don't know whether they had coffee. Caffeinated coffee gives you a kick and you cannot think high things. So was it that? No. It was through introspection. He was able to experience. It was not an intellectual gymnastic exercise. It was experiential. Remember, I keep repeating the word experiential. You need to experience this stuff. Otherwise, you won't be. Whatever I say will not really touch your heart. Unless you get a glimpse of it, you can't really believe in how.
Okay. Trying to pause the right spot. So I can see both perspectives, though, honestly, about the fact that who we are. I think, therefore, I am, because that goes along the side of the ego, of course. The reason why I believe they believe that's because how you're molded through society, through nature and nurture, develops who you are. So kind of like how there are some people out there who are mean, some people who are bullies, there are some people who are very nice and generous, there are some people who are just nice, and there are some people who are just neutral. These are who they are because that's how they act. And obviously, you think before you act. Generally speaking, without unless it's just a what do you call it, an instinctive reaction. So I understand. Was it Descartes? I guess his saying in that, um, and it's still, in my opinion, pretty valid because even if you say you are the Atman consciousness, the way that how you still act in this body, in terms of this body, is through nature and nurture. For me, again, like how would say, I do believe in that we are the consciousness, of course, and how we act is still our responsibility. So therefore, you can say they're one and the same, roughly speaking, because even though you are not your emotions and stuff, that is still part of who you are, not your true self, but who you are. So I think therefore I am is still who you are. I mean, it's not your true self, but it's who you are still. I wonder if that makes sense. Because again, how I act and how you act are going to be completely different. Therefore, we are not the same. But our consciousness, at least in terms of Advaita Vedanta, is the one only consciousness. So, which is all of us. For me, to me, it's a little bit of halfway between the two, where it's we all have our individual consciousness, which is very much the same throughout all of them. Just because they're the same doesn't mean they're the one. It's like having, I guess, for me, it's like when you buy a pack of pens or pencils. You know, you see all the pencils are the same, but they're all individual pencils. They're not one pencil just because they're all the same. Again, whatever you believe, you know, whether it's the one true consciousness or individual consciousness, to me that doesn't honestly matter because the most important thing is for liberation, which is also my path as well. So whether you know individual consciousness or one consciousness, either way, if it gets you to liberation, whatever works works. Um, and the only reason why I say the individual consciousness because I have no experience of the one consciousness. I do understand the consciousness part where you can try to tone out everything or as much as everything as possible and see that there's nothing outside of you, no motion, no thoughts, no feelings, no physical entities or whatever. You know, that part of who you are is essentially blankness. Um, it's the consciousness, but it's just mere awareness, nothing else attached to it. So, anyways.
Can you believe it? Don't believe in it even. In fact, I'm telling you. Otherwise, you'll never try to find out. So it was this couple who experienced, he said, and you know what this experience is so dynamic. First time you're free of your body and the mind. Even the mind appears like we're fluff. You seem to transcend the mind. Not that you are saying, oh, you become mindless or kind of idiot. But you transcend the mind. You see yourself as this. That's the experience. This Kapil experienced this. This is the beginning of religion. So the way Hinduism started was not with appeasing some god in the heaven. It was by discovering you essentially as a spirit. So if somebody says, oh, Dilip Bhai, if you don't believe in going into temples and cracking coconuts and all that you can't be Hindu, I say, who said that? Look up your own Upanishads. There are no gods and goddesses there. They are talking of spirit, Atman, left, right and center. And this word has been lost. You know what Vivekananda said? He said, unless you kind of discover this idea and able to dish it out, present it in such a simple manner that even a 5-year-old boy can understand, I am Atman, I am different from what I think I am. This will empower everybody. This is the power of this idea of Hindu philosophy, which is principle-oriented and not personality-oriented. These are not egoistic comments. These are very dynamic comments. We demolish this. It sees the ego as a fluff. Imagine, it says ego, fluff. I am the spirit, I am not the ego. Ego comes with the body and mind encasement of the spirit. But I am different, and this is something to touch base with. When you get that, this is if somebody says you are, because you don't believe in gods and goddesses, you can't be Hindu. Who said that? I believe in Atman, I believe in Brahman. That is the fountainhead of Hindu tradition. The rest came afterwards.
Okay, so yeah, the reason why I want to push so much into the ego as well is because because this kind of takes responsibility. Because if you, how do I say this? The Atman Brahman itself has no feelings, no emotions, no actions, no karma, you could say. It actually has no karma. Karma is false to it. So it has, in a sense, no responsibility. I think you could say that. let me try saying that, and if you want to make an argument for it, please do, because I do want to hear Karna arguments if you have any. Because the Atman itself doesn't, I don't believe, takes actions. It's completely immune and unaffected by the physical world, your emotions, and karma itself. But the ego does not. It actually has responsibilities. It is responsible for its actions. It's responsible for what you do. It's responsible for how you feel on all these things. So where the responsibility happens is with the ego itself, not the Atman. But if you, man, this is something I really want to talk about in the members only video, which will probably never happen. What I want to happen, because I want to focus on these things right here. This is very interesting. About now talking about responsibility and who's taking the action and all this. Obviously, the Atman itself doesn't not take action; it's just mere awareness. But the body, the ego, does take action, so it is responsible for karma, even though it's fake. um, and I don't like to say that it's fake. I don't like to say that it's illusion. It's not necessarily you either, just because this is part of responsibility, where we have to be responsible for our actions. And I know in terms of, I believe the gurus and swamis of this channel, that you should, in order to be enlightened, you have to be a good person. You have to do, in a sense, good karma. But if you understand, I believe, if you understand, truly understand, again, I'm saying this, truly understand in quotations here, you are never, you're enlightened. Doesn't matter whether you believe it or not. You are an enlightened being. If what I hear is true in terms of Advaita Vedanta, that you know the Atman Brahman itself is enlightened, and it is an awareness that's in all of us. So therefore, we are enlightened. The only problem is that the ego kind of, sorry, the individual Atman, or I believe it's the Jivatman, the consciousness in the individual beings is just not aware of it, but doesn't change the fact that we are enlightened. So regardless of what we do, we are enlightened beings. No matter if we're terrible human beings or great human beings, is that we are enlightened. And this is kind of strange. It throws kind of the rebirth idea out the window. But I'm not going to talk about that. I'll keep that a secret for myself. But anyways, I kind of want to, I want to say delve deeper into these things, but I kind of want to like have a dialogue with my audience and kind of throw ideas out there and see if anyone can counter them, or have or videos ideas that can counter my thoughts in these things. Now, obviously, I don't have a guru or swami close by, so I can't exactly ask these things. And even with Swami Tadatmananda, with the emails and stuff, it's that I'm sure he gets a lot of emails, and it's kind of difficult to, to send many questions to him. It would be unfair for everyone else. So I believe he takes like one or two questions per, like one question per person, typically. So, anyways, did he did he answer why are we here? I don't think he did. He merely asked who am I in terms of the person, and then Descartes with I think therefore I am. I mean, and I like to look at both of those statements as kind of true. Obviously, we are the consciousness, but we also have to, in my opinion, we also have to see that we are responsible for the ego, and therefore, if we're responsible for it and we act upon it, we we act through the ego. Might as well say that we are the ego as well. I know a lot of people are going to disagree with that, but just kind of, you just hear me out. I'm not saying that we are the ego, but through our actions through it, that we might as well say that we are. And the thing is, though, is that even though you recognize that you're not the ego, but you recognize that you're responsible for it, hopefully, even through then, you can still get enlightenment. But again, do not follow what I say. Whatever path you're on, please continue with it, especially if it's working out. I'm just throwing thoughts out there for people to think. I like to think a little bit. Thinking hurts sometimes. But, it's just an idea out there that I want people, essentially, I want people to take responsibility for their ego and their body, regardless of whether you believe you are the ego or whether you're Atman Brahman or whatever you believe in. It's that take responsibility regardless. Anyways, that's my reaction to why are we here, which I don't believe the question was answered. I don't believe I really kind of answered that question either, because I have no idea why we are here. Purpose is a different thing. Why we are here is a different thing too. Anyway, if you like my content, please consider subscribing, thumbs up, thumbs down below. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next vid.